Hello everyone, and welcome to SUNUP. I'm Lyndall Stout. We're talking pasture management this morning and weighing the options of whether to sprig or seed Bermuda grass. SUNUP's Dave Deacon caught up with our forage system specialist, Alex Rocateli.
Oklahoma's got a little bit of rain and a lot of sun, and things are starting to green up here across the state. And Alex, you're starting to get phone calls about Bermuda grass.
That's right, and I'm impressed that we are having lots of calls now on establishing new Bermuda grass pastures. And the question is always, Alex, should I sprig or should I seed Bermuda grass? And there is no right answer here. What we need to look as the advantages and disadvantages of each one, and on that they need to make a decision in what to do. So let's talk about sprigging Bermuda grass. When we sprig Bermuda grass, what you are putting in the ground is a plant that's ready, just need to continue grow. We have already roots there, we already have stems and even some leaves. So as soon as you put that sprig into the ground, we'll continue grow and we can have a fast establishment. So what that means? That means that you are not gonna have too much problems with weeds, and you can have a high chances of success when establishing from sprigs. Now, what is the main disadvantage of sprigging? Price. Can be very costly. We are talking about at least $120 per acre when you are talking about sprigging Bermuda grass. Now, seeds. What is the main advantage of seeding Bermuda grass? Well, price. Is about 1/3 or even less when we are sprigging. But there comes the disadvantage. What you are placing there is a small seed, right? That little seed needs to turn to a plant. So that seedling is gonna spring and is gonna start to catch growth pretty late. What happened? The weeds sometimes can catch up in growth faster. So we might have a problem on establishment on competing against those weeds. So what happened is you are paying less, but you have high risk of failure. So that's what we can talk about, the advantage or disadvantage of sprigging or seeding Bermuda grass.
So when it comes to preparing your pasture land for that, do you need to till the whole pasture, or can you just lightly scrape the ground before you put down the seed or the sprig?
Well, there are two different ways to do. If you're sprigging, there is one management. If you're seeding, there is another management. Now, when you are sprigging Bermuda grass, what we need is pretty much to have about at least 20 bushels of sprigs per acre. In my opinion, we are in the limit and it's too low. I would say I prefer to have at least 40 bushels per acre to have a high chance of success. Now, what we need is, let's say, spread those sprigs and after do a light tilling to put those sprigs down into the soil about 2 inches. And after pass a Cultipack or some to compact a little bit that soil for we have a good contact with the sprig and the soil. And of course, I think that it's obvious that we need to have a clean field before we start that. Now, when we talk about seeding, better that you have first prepare a very good firm seed bed, as we are doing for alfalfa. So I would say that a good seed bed would be the one that when we step with our boot, you're gonna be seeing just a very shallow stamp of your boot. If your boot sink into the ground, like I say 1/2 inch, that's too soft. Remember, Bermuda grass seed is pretty much like alfalfa, it's very little, very tiny. So that needs to be about a 1/4 inch down into the soil, no more than that. And then we just have some chains or something that you drag over the field to swirl that soil and put those seeds about 1/4 inch. Not all of them is gonna be there, they will work.
Right.
And after pass a Cultipack to have a good seed contact.
We're primarily talking about Bermuda in this situation. Is there a better part of the state that Bermuda pastures work than say another part of the state?
Well, Bermuda grass does pretty well statewide, I would say. I would say that Bermuda grass is adapted for whole Oklahoma, but it's clear that in the West we might have more problems because we have less rainfall, especially with seeding Bermuda grass. So we need a temperature of 65 Fahrenheit in the soil for the seed start to grow. So that's why right now I would say that we can start seeding and we can go as far as mid-June. But I believe that the optimum time will be in the next 2-3 weeks for seeding.
Okay, thank you much, Alex Rocateli. And for more information on Bermuda grass in pastures, check out our website, sunup.okstate.edu.
Hi, I'm Sutherland with your Mesonet Weather Report. The first 10 days of May have continued the dry west and the wet east pattern. Folks in the green band have had good rain amounts. Many Mesonet locations in that band recorded 2 or more inches of rain over the first 10 days of May. Our dry west and a wet east jump out on a 10-inch fractional water index map through April 8th. The east is dark green with lots of ones. Western Oklahoma shows its dryness with brown and yellow areas and fractional index values of 0.2. Going down to 24 inches, the dry areas expand with a number of locations at 0.1. 0 is bone dry. The east side of the state at 24 inches is wet, with many fractional water indexes at 1. Warm days have led to warm soils. Only 10 Mesonet locations had 3-day average 4-inch bare soil temperatures as of April 9th in the 60s. That left 110 sites at 70 or higher. The warmest 3-day average soil temperature was 78 at Weatherford. Here's Gary with a check on drought and green up.
Thanks, Alan. Good morning, everyone. Well, summer is apparently here, even though the calendar says it's early May. But I guess that's making up for the April we had that felt like it was February. Now, one thing that has been consistent throughout the entire year is drought. Let's take a look at that latest Drought Monitor map and see where we stand. Well, right now we're just continuing to do some fine-tuning to the map. We still have that exceptional drought, the D4 drought, and the extreme drought. Those are the dark reds and maroons out in far western Oklahoma. As we went down farther into southern Oklahoma with some of the more generous rains, but that's generally the picture across western Oklahoma. One thing we did need, though, was that rain to start to green up the state and kill some of that wildfire danger that we've seen so prevalent across the last 3 or 4 months. We can look at the relative greenness maps from the Oklahoma Mesonet's OK Fire program that helps train firefighters in the use of weather data. We can see the rapid greening of the vegetation across the eastern 2/3 of the state from last week to this week. That's generally what we need to kill fire danger. We look to the right of this figure and we see last year's map for the same time period, and that's after we had some really good rains across the entire state, and we had greenness across most of the state except the far western panhandle. Now, one of the things, in addition to the rainfall that helped us green up, is April was so cold, May actually turned into summer, as we said earlier, so we got some really nice warm weather that helps that vegetation start to grow. As we look at this, days with maximum air temperatures greater than or equal to 90 degrees, we see 7, 8 to 9 days above 90 degrees, and then that's one of the reasons why some of that vegetation has been allowed to green up. But it's a double-edged sword. That extra heat also exacerbates the drought condition. So what we need is lots of rain, and we need May to actually feel like May, not necessarily June and July. Well, that's it for this time. We'll see you next time on the Mesonet Weather Report.
We're joined now by Rodney Jones, an ag finance specialist, to talk about some of the electronic tools that are available to help guide producers and anyone else who's interested in ag finance and farm management information. And Rodney, talk about some of the things that you and the team have been putting together. What are those resources?
Well, we began an initiative probably a little over 1.5 years ago to make some of our existing resources more readily available in electronic format, and to supplement those resources with some new educational tools, and to put all of that stuff together in a place where people can easily find it, easily utilize it. So I would say probably the focal point of our effort is what we call our e-farm management website here, covering what we broke down into 31 topic areas. Under each topic area, we have some readable resources, some PDF documents, if you will, that folks can download and read. We've also burned YouTube videos to go along with those resources and the associated PowerPoints. So we've created the videos. We've actually converted those videos to podcasts as well. So that kind of forms the base or the hub of our what we're calling our e-farm management effort.
Let's kind of walk through the site. Give us an idea of kind of what's there and what people get when they log on.
We can do that, and if you could see the website here, you'll see that we have 31 specific topic areas in orange, broken down into about 4 broad categories: financial management topics, crop topics, livestock topics, and then other topics. So ranging all the way from how to develop a cash flow, how to develop a balance sheet on, in the financial management, managing financial stress, that might be of interest, managing taxes, all of those kind of fall under the financial management. Some more specific topics related to crop producers, livestock topics. We have some other things that we link to here. I'll just go to one that's always of interest, a very popular topic really anywhere that I've ever been in agriculture, and that's equitable lease arrangements. Just a lot more detail on lease arrangements for agriculture, and this would be fairly typical to what you would see if you would click on any of the topics. We have a couple of videos here, some background information on equitable lease arrangements. I believe if I click that one, we'll get our Associate Director of Extension, Dr. Damona Doy, recording a video on some background lease information there.
And bottom line, it's about meeting people with the educational materials with where they are in terms of technology and delivering it that way.
Meeting people in a variety of formats, a variety of little short blasts of information that they can get in a short time frame, wherever they're at, on demand. That's what we're shooting for.
Terrific. Rodney, thanks for the great overview. And for a link to the e-farm management website, just go to sunup.okstate.edu.
Those cow-calf producers in Oklahoma that are going to use artificial insemination this spring, perhaps to breed some replacement heifers or even adult cows, will want to be aware of the impact that very warm days can have on the conception rates as they breed those cows. For years, the old rule of thumb for those folks doing artificial insemination was called the AM/PM rule, which basically meant that if we saw a cow in standing estrus in the morning, we bred her that evening, or if we saw her in standing estrus for the first time in the evening, we waited until the following morning. Now, research that's been done with huge numbers of dairy cattle basically disproved the value of that particular rule of thumb. They found that if we see the cow in standing estrus in the morning time, if we go ahead and breed her then, or if we see her in the evening, we wait until the following morning and breed that cow the following morning, that we seem to get along just as well in terms of conception rates. And then in this very warm weather that we'll experience here in May and June, and certainly July, we'll be in that situation where we're not having to work cattle and breed cattle in the very, very warm parts of the day. Here at Oklahoma State University, there was some very interesting studies done on the impact of daily temperature, outside temperature, on the core body temperature of cows. And one of the key things that they found was that the core body temperature of the cow was actually highest 2 to 5 hours after the peak of the afternoon temperatures. That tells me then that if we're trying to breed cows, say in the early evening hours when perhaps we get off work and go home and see a cow in heat, that's the time when her body temperature on a warm day is going to be at its very, very highest. And research has shown us that cows that have elevated body temperatures don't conceive as well as those that have more normal body temperatures. So back to our rule of thumb here. I think if we see that cow in estrus in the morning, go ahead and breed her in the morning. If we see her in estrus for the first time in the evening, wait till the following morning and do all our breeding if possible before certainly about 10 a.m. I think this will go a long ways towards increasing our conception rates just a little bit as we go through the breeding season this spring, and we hope that you have a real good outcome of your AI program this year. Hey, we look forward to visiting with you again next week on SUNUP's Cow-Calf Corner.
Kim Anderson, our crop marketing specialist, joins us now. And Kim, the USDA released the WASDE estimates for crops. Let's dive right into the projections for U.S. corn, soybeans, and wheat.
As we look at those numbers, of course, with the 18 estimates coming out to go along with the 17, it doubles the number of numbers. Looking ahead into 18 on wheat, they've got U.S. production at 1.82 billion bushels. That's slightly above the 17 numbers. On corn at 14.04 billion bushels, and that's slightly below 17 production. And soybeans, 4.28 billion bushels, and that too is also slightly below last year. If you look at the ending stocks, and I think that's the critical number, they're lowering wheat to 955 million bushels, down from just over a billion. I think that's good news for wheat. Of course, most of that's in hard red winter wheat production. It's lower. You look at corn, 1.68 billion bushels. That's down from almost 2.2 billion last year. So lower corn production. If you look at soybeans, ending stocks at 415 million bushels. That's down from 530 million bushels. So lower corn, lower wheat, and lower beans, all on ending stocks. And I think that's probably pretty good for price.
That's the U.S. Picture. Let's take a look now at the world estimates.
And world estimates can trump U.S. estimates because we're in world markets. You look at world wheat production, 27.5 billion bushels. That's almost right at 2017 for world at 29.9. So down just a little bit. Corn, 41.6. Higher, remember it's lower U.S. production in corn, higher production in corn for the world. And you look at soybeans, slightly lower bean production in the U.S., higher in the world at 13 billion bushels.
And how much are prices expected to change as a result of this?
Well, if you look at prices, you've got wheat, $4.70 average for the 17-18 year. For 18-19, they raised it 30 cents to $5. You look at corn, $3.36 this year, $3.80 next year, so 50 cents higher. You look at soybeans, $9.35 this year, $10 next year, or about 65 cents higher.
And last but not least, of course, a lot of people interested in cotton. What's the scenario there?
Well, cotton's an interesting item here. You look at production in the U.S. last year, 20.9 million bales. Lower this year at 19.5, and I think that kind of goes against what everybody's expecting. You look at the world, it's slightly lowered at 121 million bales. You look at ending stocks for the U.S., 4.7 this year. It's projected to increase to 5.2 next year. World going down though, 88 million bales down to 83. And you look at the price, and it's almost the same at 68 cents this year and 65 next year. But right now, that futures price on cotton's up in the 80-cent level, so something's got to give here.
Okay, Kim, a lot of great information. Thanks for breaking it down for us. We'll see you again next week. And now to Food-Wise and expanding our palates to try something new. Today, Chuck Willoughby looks at the diversity of seaweed.
Who knew there was seaweed in my ice cream? When most people think about eating seaweed, they think of sushi, and that's become very popular in recent years. But seaweed consumption is not anything new. In fact, the Chinese, in recorded history, began consuming seaweed as early as 2700 BC. And nori, that flattened seaweed that's used to make sushi rolls, was invented by the Japanese in 794 AD. There's also evidence in historical records of seaweed being consumed in Iceland, Ireland, Scotland, and Greece. But did you know that there are seaweed derivatives in many of the foods that you consume on a daily basis? You may have seen agar, alginates, and carrageenan on an ingredient statement while shopping at the store. These are commonly used in products like ice cream, salad dressing, puddings, and processed meats, or even baked goods and candies. Agar, which is derived from certain species of red algae, has been used as an ingredient in desserts throughout Asia. It can also be used as a clarifying agent in brewing beer. Sodium alginate, which is a type of seaweed extract made from brown algae, can be found in processed foods as an additive, like ice cream and soy sauce. The alginate acts as a flavor enhancer. It can also be used as a thickening agent in gravy mixes. Finally, carrageenan, which is an extracted form of red seaweed, is primarily used in the food industry for its gelling, thickening, and stabilizing properties. Its primary application is in dairy and meat products due to its ability to strongly bind food proteins. So if you're one that usually gets a little squeamish or grimaces at the thought of eating seaweed, you don't have to anymore. You've been eating it all along. In fact, it's kind of like the way Mom used to hide carrot juice or pureed carrots in the soup or the chili, just so she knew you were getting your vegetables. If you want to learn more information about food trends and other exciting information in the food industry, download the FAPSI app. Visit SUNUP for more information.
Finally today, we meet the veterinarian who stays busy not only treating animals, but also serving communities with her unique storytelling skills. SUNUP's Curtis Hare has more.
Hi, sweetie. Hey. So what are we doing with Nala today?
Oh, we're just doing a checkup.
Okay. Has she been doing okay?
If you could sum up in one word what it's like to be a small and large animal veterinarian, it would easily be busy. Stepping inside Cushing Veterinary Clinic, it only takes about 15 seconds to realize that. An environment Dr. Rebecca Hartfield thrives in.
So my favorite part about this job, especially working large animals, would be I see so many different things at the clinic every single day. So today I might be looking at a bull and, you know, later be looking at a pig or a goat.
Veterinary medicine is a field Rebecca sort of fell into.
He's got a clean bill of health, and
after taking a job as a vet technician, she found a purpose in working with animals and went back to school at Oklahoma State University and became a doctor of veterinary medicine. She graduated in 2016 and joined the clinic shortly after.
Okay. You don't have to. Heartworm test is $15.
With all the wonderful chaos Dr. Hartfield deals with every day, she still finds time to help communities through her part-time job.
Thank you. Hi, everybody.
Children's author.
Does anyone know what kind of doctor I am?
The book is called Rosie the Pig, a story about a girl, Abby, who takes her sick pig to the veterinarian.
Rosie, you look sick. Abby's gonna call Dr. H.
She based the story off an experience she had with her niece.
My niece Abby had actually come over to the ranch, and my pig Rosie was really sick. So we went out, we examined her, I taught her about what we were looking for, exactly what's in the book. Medicine to make her feel better.
While helping people and animals through her clinic is rewarding, Rebecca wanted to expand her reach in other ways. She just didn't have an avenue to achieve it.
I wanted to do more and make a difference. I've always been that way. A friend had called around the same time and said, hey, my daughter wants to go to veterinary school. She's young, and we want a good book for her to start on, you know, now. And so I got to doing some research, and I really didn't find anything that I just loved.
The light bulb flashed, and Rebecca and her sister, who's a graphic designer, decided to start a children's book series. She travels around the state and visits daycares and schools to do readings. Her mission with the book is to expose kids to both veterinary medicine and agriculture.
What did we say this was again? So I want kids to be interested in agriculture. There is a shortage of rural veterinarians, especially in Oklahoma, and so we need more veterinarians to go out and work in these rural areas with the large animals. So that's what I hope that my book will also inspire.
And what Dr. Hartfield is doing is a great asset to the community of agriculture, because she's delivering a message on agriculture literacy, developing and educating on a very true level.
To reinforce her mission, Dr. Hartfield enlisted the help of a friend to further engage the little minds.
Here comes Rosie.
Today was unique for them. I don't know anybody that has a pig in their house, and also get to pet the pig, watch the pig eat, see what Rosie feels like, things like that. Those are definitely experiences that they wouldn't normally get to have unless they go to a farm.
When you bring a live animal in here and they get to pet the pig and get a picture with that pig, they're going to be talking about it for several days.
Rebecca plans to have 6 books in the series. The next book will be about a horse, appropriately named Pistol. Due out this June. Imagine the kids' faces when a horse trots into their school. For SUNUP, I'm Curtis Hare.
You want to pet Rosie? You can give her a little pet. There you go.
And that'll do it for us this week. Remember, you can find us anytime at sunup.okstate.edu, and also follow us on YouTube and social media. I'm Lyndall Stout. Have a great week, everyone, and remember, Oklahoma agriculture starts at SUNUP.